So we'll continue on. Have I shown you this picture before in a previous module? It's at a company called, it's customer service at a company called Zappos. What do you notice about it? When you see it, what do you think? What does it inspire you? No. It looks messy, doesn't it? It's also very individualized. What's happening here is people are encouraged to make their workspace their own. So their cube is their own. They can do it and decorate it however they want. They can celebrate different things. So here we've got Claire Scolati. This is her desk with a sign over it. I presume that's there. I don't know who this lady here is. I can't see a name. Look at Miss Kitty, our little Hello Kitty. Lots of stuff around her cubicle walls. But the idea is that the company encourages staff to make it their own, to set it up as they like, make it personalized and everything. Why is that in an era when we could be looking at hot desking? And hot desking, of course, works on the basis that you don't have a desk. There are so many desks available for whoever's in that day, and therefore you just use a desk. It's not your home desk. You can't leave your stuff there. So this is a different approach. The reason why Zappos did this is that they really value customer service. Now they have changed. They're now owned by Amazon. Let me just get the screen up for you. It looks like they're now actually serve Ireland too. So let me share it with you. So this is Zappos's website, and that's the Ireland website. But I want to go to the American website. So this is the company website. Refreshing, refresh. It started out primarily as a shoe retailer. Dear enough, actually. Shoes. So why is that? Let me just refresh that. Why is it not working? So this is the American website. So Zappos, I just want the homepage. Right. So this is Zappos. Okay. Started off mainly in shoes, obviously branched out into other things now. If you look at it, this website has changed. I know I'm saying it's changed because you haven't seen it before. It used to be they had their phone number right up here. Okay, right here, top left, where it's the first place you see on the screen, or the first place you look when you're looking for something. The reason they had it up there is because they wanted it to be possible for somebody to call. If I go to Netflix, okay, and I look for, except right, let's see, contact us. One click, and it's, let me see. Update payment method, wants me to sign in. Okay, there is a number there I can call. That's good. So it's not too bad. Two clicks I can get to that. If I want to talk to, let me see. Let's try an Irish bank. So AIB, Allied Irish Bank is an Irish bank here. I don't bank with them. So let me just go here and see Does it give me, I want to contact us? Let me see. Well, okay, they have a number, two numbers, internet phone banking. I know when I call this number, I'm into an IVR. But that's 2 clicks. That's not too bad. If I call, let's say, Sheen, is it .com, is it? I don't want to do any of that. So I just want to get down to the bottom of the page to see, is there a company information? It's in the way. My God, get out of my way. Customer care, contact us. No, this is so painful. So order issues, delivery, refund account, product and stock, payments and promos. Let's see, order issues. Oh, no. Order issues. How can I place an order? How can I correct my shipping address? Delivery, refund, count. I've been scammed out of money. What do I do? Let me go here and see. I still can't call anybody. There's no phone number. Okay, so contact us, back to contact us again. And there's no easy contact point. Okay, so we looked at two, actually, it wasn't too bad. I had 2 clicks to find a phone number. My point is that when we look at Zappos, they used to have it up here front and center, sorry, front and top left. The reason that Zappos had it front and top left was they wanted you to call. Okay, Zappos was entirely an online retailer, so their view was that their only engagement with customers was if you actually call them. Other than that, the only time they would actually speak to a customer. Other than that, the customers were interacting with a website. And Zappos's idea was anytime a customer calls, it's a chance for us to get to know the customer, and it's a chance for us to work on building the relationship with the customer, because repetition is key to what Zappos is about. And so I want to explore that idea a bit more. There's our learning outcomes to examine different ways that organizations deal with their customers. More and more, we're seeing people going through a non-direct human engagement to a bot, to forms, to IVRs, which is, takes an element of the contact capability out of it. So we want to examine the ways that organizations deal with their customers, develop skills and practice that will support customer retention being a key thing, and look at examples of customer-centered organizations such as Zappos. What we've said is that customer satisfaction is a function of a number of different things. We said this the last day, things like customer value optimization, customer retention, customer care are all things that are important for us. And we could talk about customer satisfaction in relation to the product or service, to the sales, after sales, location, time, or culture of the organization. Central to all of this has to be customer engagement. We have to talk, we have to engage with the customer if we're going to try and achieve any of these things. Now, 2 key things that we will want to talk about are customer value optimization and customer retention. Customer value optimization is this idea that we optimize the value from customers over time. So what we want to recognize is that it's not just about this sale today. It's about building a relationship and expanding that relationship over time. So the customer becomes a repeat customer and they become a better customer, a deeper customer, if you like. So I'm just going to jump on just to show you the customer value optimization model here. So customer value optimization is this idea that we want to build this engagement with the customer. Now, what we know is that people like to do business with people that they know, they like, and they trust. And I'm sure you guys are the same. If I'm going to buy something, I like to work with a retailer that I know, that I like, and that I trust. I want to know they're going to look after me. I don't want to buy something or a service off of somebody that I don't trust. I don't want to do business with somebody I don't like. And like and trust really comes from getting to know the business to know somebody at the business. It's easier for us to do business with somebody we know, we like, and we trust. So this customer value optimization model, let me just copy this. I'm just going to make it bigger so we can see it. And we'll split it into two halves, right? So just so you can see it, it'll be on the slide anyway. But this is the idea, is that we want to grow our relationship with the customer. So obviously there's work around identifying who our customer is and what they want and what their needs are, and developing products and services to meet those needs. I'm not talking about that new product or new service development aspect, although that's very important too. But when we know we've got something to offer the customer, we can offer the customer some value, we have to find a way to engage with the customer. So the customer value optimization approach is we've got to choose a traffic source. How best can we encounter our customer? Can we engage with our customer? So we might look at one of these. Now, this is a little dated because it doesn't have TikTok on it and some other channels. But the idea is we would look at social media, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, anything else. We would look at search engine optimization using Google search or whatever, paid for paid advertisement. Maybe look at building blogs online, some sort of social media engagement. And what we want to do is figure out what's the optimum channel traffic source that we can use to engage with our customer. So for some customers, it might be Facebook. For others, it might be a shop window. For others, it might be creating a blog. For somebody else, it might be TikTok. So we've got to figure out who our customers are and where they are and choose a suitable traffic source for those customers. And then the idea is that we need to do the outreach. We need to engage. So we might offer a lead magnet. In other words, a lead magnet is just simply an enticement to come look at us, come have a look at our website, to click on something. So we capture attention somehow, and we want somebody to click or to step into a store or to read something. We want them to do something. So we offer a lead magnet. Learn about passing exams, produce better academic projects, get your look like so-and-so, whatever. So some sort of lead magnet, which is designed to attract the type of customer we want, that our products and services are geared towards. And when we use that lead magnet, hopefully somebody clicks on it or engages, and then we try and deepen the relationship by offering a tripwire product. And a tripwire is basically a loss leader. The idea behind a tripwire is that what we want to do is we want to deepen the relationship. We want to, somebody who's come to see us, we want to capture them. We want to deepen the relationship. So we might offer them something really, really small that they have to do something to get. And in general, we want that to be something with a tiny bit of value in it. Not value for them, as in ideally they might sign up for this is all available for this product worth 50 euros is available to you today for €2. Or sign up today and get 150 worth of subscription for $3. Some sort of tripwire product, which can be effectively a loss leader. But the purpose of this is to get the customer, the target customer, to have skin in the game, to do something to demonstrate further that they might be interested in our products. And if we do that and they take up our tripwire, then we know they're interested. And then we can offer them a core product. So now we've got you in, we've given you something for free. Hopefully you're getting value out of that. It's working for you. By the way, here's our core product. Here's our core service. Okay. And if you do buy the core service, the core product, then we may well offer you a profit maximizer. My example for the profit maximizer is if I buy an Apple laptop online, if I go to a white goods dealer and I buy a washing machine or a cooker or a fridge or a television, at the checkout, they will offer me insurance, extra insurance. If I buy a laptop online, they'll offer me the care package. And that's a profit maximizer. So I've bought the core product, I'm into the core product, and now it's a question of can they maximize the profit out of that sale? And sometimes we'll buy it and sometimes we won't. But if they do buy the profit maximizer, we now know they're very interested. They know they like, and obviously they trust us now, and they become a good customer. And what we want is we want to create a return path because we want to keep engaging with them. We want to give them more information. We want to engage them on social media. We want to be able to build an audience with them. We want to be able to communicate with them by email or whatever. So we want to create a return path so they can come back to us again for another product and another product and another product. And at each stage where they don't engage with us, so maybe we offer a tripwire product, but they don't take it, we might have some sort of follow-up step that entices them back into a core product. You weren't interested in that product, that's fine, but we might have your email address at this stage. So we might follow that up with an email in a week's time or something. If we offer you a core product and you don't take it, again, there might be a follow-up thing to entice you back in, and so on. So each step is an opportunity to engage and to build a relationship with the customer. Now, I'm not mad into sales at all costs. I would much rather build a relationship with somebody for whom we have a product or service that works for you, that solves your problem, and that we would like to sell to you, and we want to build a relationship with you. I'm a believer in win-win situations. So I want, like most people, I want to work with somebody that I like, I know I like, and I trust. And this, I suppose, is an overt customer engagement model, customer value optimization. But what it does is it's trying to build a relationship with the customer over time and create this opportunity for ongoing engagement. So that's the customer value optimization model. So it's there in full version. If we go back here, so that's what I'm saying. We want to look at how we do that sort of customer value optimization. We want to look at how we make that relationship with the customer, how we keep that customer, how we retain that customer. So I think one of the key things is we have to ask the customer questions. We should be segmenting all the time. We should be engaging with our customers. Even if they're not our customers, we should be talking to people and asking them, what do you want? What would you value? What price would you be willing to pay for this solution or for that solution? So we do need an ongoing engagement with our customers. Actually, we talked about that last time, but the idea was behind some sort of call center. What we are aiming for is this customer lifetime value. And what we see, what our experience is, which I don't get, is that lots of companies, they don't really follow through. If they have a contact center, what I get is an automated message. I don't want to talk to a machine. If I'm going to trouble of ringing you up, it's because I have a problem and I want to talk to somebody. I don't want to waste my time going through an IVR step by step by step. It just frustrates me. My time is valuable. I know your time is valuable, so it frustrates me. So I just don't get this. This is why Zappos's example was quite interesting. Zappos's attitude, which is what helped it become a very, very successful online retailer before it was sold to Amazon, was we actually want to talk to our customers. Instead, many businesses are now going this route of automated messaging, are using bots online, which is just becoming another version of the interactive voice recognition piece, which is what you get when you phone up. And I understand what's happening. What businesses are trying to do is, how do we make this more efficient for us in terms of having a maze or a decision tree process? So Rana rings up and has a problem and rings the company and goes through an IVR, select one of your personal customer, press 2 if you're a business customer, so press 1. If you want to ask about a delivery, press 1. If you want to ask about a change of address, press 2. If you want to ask about a bidding error, press 3. And so they take us through this maze. And the attitude is, by having this maze, they sell it as it getting you to the person who can deal with your thing quicker. I think that's a cop-out. I'm sure it's numbers driven in that it allows them to manage calls through to various teams who specialize to a certain extent. And I understand the value of specialization, but it doesn't work fast enough because it works at the speed of the voice talking. So the voice message has to be clear, has to be detailed, and therefore I have to sit listening to something that doesn't apply for me, waiting for the next one which doesn't apply for me, waiting for the next one which is the one I want to click. Now, I'm odd, I get it, but this is how it works. And I'm sure we all have experience of these types of decision trees through some sort of IVR, even through websites, this click method. When we call up a customer, we have to prove who we are. Again, I see the value of that. I think it's important. Again, it's who's talking to who. And quite often, we never know who we're talking to. And when we come through the next time, we could be talking to somebody else. Or if they can't help us, they transfer to somebody else who we don't know. So there's no connection, there's no ongoing engagement with somebody who deals with my case. And I think that's an opportunity for improvement, to be honest. Because if we want this customer lifetime engagement, why aren't we building more of a relationship with our customers? And the reality is it's because it's too expensive. And businesses don't like to invest in it because it becomes too expensive. They think that this is a way of how do we get more done, how do we become more efficient, how do we keep costs down, which I understand, but there probably has to be a better way. But this is what passes for customer services these days. And some of the idea behind the approach by businesses is this 80-20 analysis, this Pareto rule, this idea that 80% of the volume is accounted for by 20% of the processes, and the inverse, that 20% of the volume is accounted for by 80% of the processes. The classic example is if you were a bank, 80% of the phone calls to the bank might be balance inquiries, or not 80%, but the top 20 processes or 20% of the different things we do account for 80% of the activity. So we know that the most frequently used things are balance inquiry, or charge inquiry, or change of address, for example. So there might be 8, 10, 12, 14 elements that people ring up that account for 80% of the volume. And then there's a whole range of other things that people ring up for, which can become very, very detailed, which are only 20% of the volume. And as a result, the business approaches is how do we work out something like this, where somebody contacts us and we have a decision tree to get them through this so that we're putting these 80% of volume into these bigger teams who can handle stuff quickly, and we're filtering off these other items that are only 20% of the volume into the specialist teams who can handle them. I see the logic of this. And it's based on some sort of decision tree, which is this sort of nodes. So you come in, is it this? No, you go to the next one. Is it this? No, you go to the next one. If it's this, yes, then you come down to here and you ask another question. That's what's happening. This is when you're a customer, this is what's actually happening in the background. We're being filtered, which again, I understand why, but I'm hoping there's a better way to do it, to be honest. Now, as we grow and learn and we become more used to artificial intelligence, we'll be happier to engage with systems, and that'll make it more efficient in some ways. And some companies will make short-term gains using that. But I'm not sure how that helps us build relationships as well with our customers into the future, which is why when we talk about something like this, how do we marry the philosophies and the approaches of the likes of Fergal Quinn in terms of crowning the customer, this idea of really understanding what the customer is, engaging with them, learning to continuously adapt and develop if we're not talking directly with them. So how do we achieve customer lifetime value if we're not really crowning the customer? Instead, we've created a mechanism that's becoming frustrating for some customers. And like I said, I'm not sure in my world, we right at this space where most people think companies don't want to talk to them, which is a kind of a sad situation, really. And they're not wrong, but that's where we're at. When you have to ring up and talk to somebody. In fact, you know who's really good at it here? I've discovered the organization that's really good at engaging, not the best by any means, because they don't like to talk to you so much, but they are actually quite responsive, is the tax collectors here, the revenue commissioners. And that makes sense because they want our money. Over the last 10 years, they've become much better engaging with taxpayers, customers of the state, if you want. Banks, no. I mean, I had 2 calls with my bank last week because I ordered a new car, didn't come through and so on. And I was getting nowhere. And the solution was just to do it all over again, which would take another 2 weeks. So anyway, that's my rant. I just think we can do much better than what we currently have if we get back to this idea of trying to crown the customer, which is what Zappos was setting up to do. What made Zappos different? It allowed staff to speak to customers for as long as necessary. The longest customer service call on record at Zappos was 10.5 hours. Now, that's scary. That's shocking, really. But it illustrates the point. So Zappos had this philosophy, like I said at the start of class, where they want to talk to their customers. So if you have a problem, call us, we'll talk to you, and we're not going to put you under pressure to get off the phone. Our customer service rep is empowered to try and deal with your problem. In fact, they have even budgetary discretion. They can spend up to $150, $200 to solve a problem if necessary. And the idea is that they engage with the customers. So this long call, 10 and a half hours is a record, a company legend, if you like. Obviously, in this case, it became something other than it was. Somebody, a customer, obviously was going through some sort of issue or crisis, and the customer service rep just didn't hang up and kept talking to them and so on, and didn't make a sale on it. Doesn't matter. It was the fact that they spoke to them for 10 and a half hours. And the company celebrated it as opposed to making trouble for somebody. But there's lots of examples in Zappos, or there were lots of examples in Zappos, where customer service reps were empowered to do things that were pretty special in some ways. There's the example of a customer ringing up very distressed because they had ordered shoes which had just arrived, and they'd ordered shoes for a family member who had just passed away. So the shoes arrived after the person passed away, which of course is a shocking tragedy for them. And the call was about could they return the shoes and get their money back. People focus on different things at different times. The customer service rep in this case commiserated, talked to the person, and basically said, look, don't worry about it. Keep the shoes. Give them to somebody who needs them. Right? I've already credited your account, so we've refunded you the money. We don't worry about sending the shoes back to us. Just give them to somebody who needs them. This is not a time for worrying about these shoes. And of course, this treats the customer with respect and sympathy and empathy and so on. And that's fine. But then after the call, the customer service rep, who has the customer's address because we've sent out the shoes and everything else, goes online, orders flowers, and sends these flowers to the customer, a commiseration thing. So not only do they lose the cost of the product, not only do they spend money then sending flowers, this whole thing obviously cost the company money. But that's exactly why Zappos wanted customer service agents to be like that, to be able to engage with customers, so they could build a relationship with the customer, understand the customer, and show the customer they care and help solve the problem. The reality is that customer going to shop elsewhere in the future. More than likely not. More than likely they're going to remember this connection and, tell other people about Zappos and what Zappos did, and show loyalty in return to a service provider business that has shown them respect and consideration at their difficult time. And they're going to tell other people. So the goodwill out of that example is just staggering. And you know what? In most small businesses, that's the kind of thing we would do. You would engage with your customer. If your customer has a problem, we'll try and solve your problem. Look, don't worry about it for the moment. Chill, relax. We'll look after this. We'll sort this out. And it's that sort of engagement, that sort of human engagement that Zappos was particularly famous for. And it's illustrated in some ways. I don't know if you've seen the movie The Intern. With Anne Hathaway and Robert De Niro. So in The Intern, it's about this. It's about Zappos, not by any means, but it's about this online fashion retailer. And there's an example of that where a customer rings up because they've got a problem with a wedding dress that hasn't arrived and everything else, and the boss gets in and solves the problem because that's what you do somebody's special day. So this sort of engagement by Zappos, I think, is startling. And it's more startling because it's actually quite rare. And I think that's a missed opportunity for business. So customer value optimization, customer relationship building are two of the key things. This aspect of Zappos goes straight to the idea of customer retention. And it's centered on this idea that we engage and we listen to customers. If we value our customers, we should listen to them. We absolutely should listen to them. And we should be doing more listening than talking. So this was the idea behind Zappos's approach. What does that mean in terms of improving customer responsiveness? We talked about this already, but I want to use this as a springboard into the next piece. All organizations require customers to acquire or utilize our products or our services. So we have to make sure our outputs, our products, our services meet their needs. We have to make sure we can actually deliver the product or services using our operations. And we have to do it in a way that our revenue is larger than our cost, so we make a profit. But that's what we need to do. But it's based on, it hinges on, it relies on the fact that we have to understand who our customer is and what his or her needs are. It keeps coming back to this. It's imperative that we understand who our customer is. How do we do that? How do we build up that knowledge over time? This is where we need to talk about CRM, customer relationship management. This is the engine that drives this. Now, so CRM, customer relationship management, is in some ways it's viewed as a system. It's not a system. It's a core business strategy. There are CRM systems out there. There are Salesforce, or other applications that we use to manage our customers, databases. We call them CRMs, but CRM is a core business strategy. It's not a system. It's not an application. It's an approach. And what it does is it allows us to integrate internal processes and functions, how we do things ourselves, with external networks, with our engagement points with our customers. Think back to customer value optimization and the channels, the traffic paths, so that we can create and deliver value to our customers. And of course, that we engage with them and we're capturing information with them all the time. So that's what we're trying to do. It's this approach where we can do what we need to do for our customers based on understanding our customers or based on better engagement with our customers. And it's a combination of, yes, of course, it is an application, but it's the processes that application triggers and how these things work within our organization and the culture that we bring to bear that underpins everything. It's grounded in high quality customer related data and enabled by information technology. Unfortunately, because it's enabled by information technology, we look to the toolkit all the time instead of realizing it's not just the system, it's the strategy, it's the approach. So let's talk a little bit more about the approach and also the applications themselves so that we can see how this works. So we could talk about a strategic, operational, analytical, or collaborative CRM. A strategic CRM, you'll see there, is the core strategy that aims at winning and keeping profitable customers, winning, which is engaging, and then keeping that sort of idea of customer retention. Operational focuses on how we automate customer-facing processes. This is the bit that's difficult, that I think is difficult to get right, which is the selling, the marketing, and the customer service processes. And there's nothing wrong with automation in itself, as long as we're not sacrificing customer relationship and trust building. So absolutely, we should automate information capture. We should automate building up the customer profile and the customer's account so we can deal with the customer effectively. We should automate the process fulfillment, the order fulfillment processes where we can. And we could talk about that in terms of when you order something online, it creates a charge on your account, it creates a order to send a product, and it creates a delivery advice to you telling you the product is on its way. And all of that is great. And it can be done with logical clarity around what our processes are, etc. So that's the operational piece. The other thing is analytical, that we want to be able to mine our customer-related data for strategic or tactical purposes. So as we capture all of this information, which if we're using computer systems, we should be doing, we're able to mine that for insight. What's happening when our customers are calling us? What are they calling us most about? What are the issues they're raising? What does that mean we should do in terms of our product or our service or our processes so that we can improve it and solve that problem and be seen to solve that problem by our customers so that that deepens the relationship. So that's an analytical thing is really important. And then collaborative CRM is using technology as a way to optimize company, partner, and customer value. So social media, email, right? Portals. How do we create the opportunity for our customer to engage with us? We see this in particular in the strategic value chain, this idea going from the raw material producers to the subassembly producers to the manufacturer to the distributor to the retailer to the customer. All along that value chain, how do we improve efficiency and so on? And some of that is by things like EDI, electronic data interchange, whereby when you go to a shop and you scan something at the checkout, the system knows that you've taken that product, you've bought that product, it knows that the volume of stock available has gone down a bit. And when it adds that up across the stores and it triggers a certain point, it triggers an automatic reorder of stock from the supplier. That type of thing is collaborative in terms of how we get things done. And that's backwards with our suppliers. We can do similar stuff in terms of our customers as well. So, how do we engage with our customers so that we're capturing information, which helps us serve them better? Their services are automated, ours is augmented, and so on. So, how do we do this sort of collaborative thing? An example that we're looking at, and we're seeing more of, is WhatsApp, for example. Now, I can't send you my slides on WhatsApp at the moment because my laptop is old. I need a new laptop because my WhatsApp isn't working on my laptop anymore. But with one of the organizations I'm working with, what we're doing is we're expanding the use of WhatsApp into customer groups or topic areas, which means we can start to communicate more effectively with our customers. But our customers, they're our customers. That's why they're in there. It's not with people in general, it's with people who become our customers. So we look at how we can collaborate better. So this is what customer relationship management actually is about. It's not an application. An application called a CRM can be used to support our broader customer relationship management. CRM is a business strategy. We have this problem with misunderstanding it. For many people, it's database marketing. It's an IT issue. It's about loyalty schemes. It can be implemented by anybody. It's a marketing process. It's this, it's that, and the other. And you know what? It is those things, but it's part of a business strategy. Loyalty cards are a classic example. When you go get coffee at the same place, or you get a milkshake at the same place all the time, or you shopping in somewhere. In fact, I have one on my phone. Insomnia. So this is my Insomnia app. Oh, there we go. Just an app on my phone for this brand. And I go in here. I've got a QR code, which I use when I buy coffee. And it tells me that I've got a punch card. Here's a punch card, like a virtual punch card. So that means that there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 punches on this, another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, another 5, and I get a free coffee. 10 coffee free. It's a loyalty card, right? Or your mom or your dad or your anyone in the family who use shopping regularly, the loyalty scheme where you tap your card or they scan your card at the checkout and you get points for your purchases. Or you get special offers. Tesco do it here. So here's the price of the product, but if you've got a club card, is a lower price. So what's actually happening is this is rewarding customers for repeat buys, which is fair enough. That's good. I like that. It's also, though, capturing information about customers because it's a loyalty card. If it's not like a cardboard one, if it's an actual card or a virtual one, they're capturing information about our buying behaviors and everything else. We know that Shane always buys Americanos, or what's really happened, it's hot chocolates, large hot chocolates. One on coconut milk, and one with ordinary milk with cream. The one with cream is for me, and the coconut milk is for my wife. But so that's mainly what I do that for. But then they know my buying patterns. So it is, CRM is this strategy which can use these things, but a loyalty scheme by itself isn't a CRM. It's only a part of it. So we could talk about things like email integration, relationship management, sales calls, email marketing, documentation, and follow-up projects, and so on, as part of the components of CRM, right? So there's no doubt we can use systems to help us. And that's a really important idea. But why is it important? Effectively using CRM, not a CRM, remember, it's not a system. Effectively using customer relationship management means we can learn more about our customer, about their buying behavior, because we're able to capture when they buy, what they buy, how often they buy, how much they buy this product with this product. So we get all this information, which over time we can start to aggregate and get insights from. It allows us to become more efficient in organizing and automating aspects of our business because based on what's happening, we can figure out as we're buying more of this, customers buying less of this, we can make some good decisions. This is the big customer behavior pattern. So looking at this, we might say, what if we did some pre-packaging some of this? That could help with the process. And it's about optimizing our customer interactions, streamlining the interaction, capturing information, improving the process for customers, increasing customer satisfaction. This is what it's about. If I go to Tesco, I can take up a hand scanner when I go into the store because I've got a club card, this loyalty card. I can scan it and I can take a scanner and then I can go around the store and take my products off and I scan the barcodes. So it's racking up the bills and I go to the checkout and I use my scanner to tell the checkout machine to transfer my list to the checkout machine, and it racks it up, and so I don't have to scan everything again, and it tells me what my bill is, and I can pay, and I can just go. They still don't trust us because every 1 in 10 times you get stopped and somebody inspects your package, which I find offensive. I understand why, but I find it offensive. But the idea is it's automating part of the process, which is improving the customer experience, ideally. So it's really using existing technology. The benefit to the store is they're getting so much information about me. They're getting so much information about customers in general that there's huge data there that they can process and mine. And it means things like making choices about why we order this product anymore. Nobody buys this product anymore. Here's where we need to put some special offers to encourage Shane and customers like Shane to buy more of X or more of Y, and so on. All of that information is captured and is useful if it's done right. We'll leave it there for today because we're up against time. We'll pick up on this and close off CRM tomorrow and look at a couple of other things. Have a good day. See you later. Thank you. Bye bye.